Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today's episode, I'm doing another Ask Me Anything. Welcome to today's episode, guys. I didn't pick a topic. I thought I'd let you crazy guys out there pick a topic for us today. So I'm going to be looking in the chat now and picking the first topic. Please, guys, let's do the first segment. All about fitness, fighting, jiu-jitsu, MMA, combat sports, anything training related. Guys, don't forget, use promo code GET55 off. It's on the bottom of your screen. It's in the description. Check out jujiclub.com. I just released a triangle escape video, guillotine escape video, and of course, one of the best selling videos ever, professional shadow boxing. It's doing incredibly well. People love it. It's more advanced striking. Check it out. Make sure to incorporate shadow boxing and develop your striking style. Get 55 off by using Get 55 off in the promo at the checkout, an additional 55% off. All right, guys, I am now kicking it off. Give me your comments and questions. Ribbon Reef overcooked my lamb chops. That's from Emmanuel. Emmanuel, Ribbon Reef is a very famous steakhouse right next to TriStar Gym. Right next to it. It's literally a 1-minute walk from my gym. So they're known for having amazing steaks, and I highly doubt they overcooked your lamb. I highly doubt it. Okay, we got a lot of trolls here. I'm gonna have to start kicking guys out right away. Guys, before we get into all the crazy stuff about politics and what's in the news, let's talk first fitness, training, jiu-jitsu, MMA, fight matchups, anything. Salam, everybody, salam. Thoughts on Buckley versus Usman? Capitan, very good question. Guys, I saw that fight. I couldn't believe how Usman was such an underdog. I believe it was like minus 295 or something like that. That's a pretty big... I mean, those are really, really good odds for Buckley. Listen, Buckley did really well against Kobe, but Kobe he didn't look like a championship Kobe. Okay, he was far from being a championship Kobe. And let's just say he didn't look good at all. But Usman is another animal. Usman got the takedown in the first minute, got the takedown in the second round, third round, fourth round. Now the fifth round, he wasn't able to get the takedown, and Buckley looked alive. He won that round. That was the only round he won. Buckley has incredible conditioning. He's a great striker. He could outstrike Usman if he was somehow, some way able to get it keep it on the feet. He just wasn't. Usman just took him down every single round. Every single round. Just took him down and mauled him. It was a one-sided fight. Usman looked like he could beat him again. If they fought again, he'd beat him again. There was just too much of a differential in wrestling. It wasn't the most exciting fight, but still a very dominating performance by Kamaru. Okay, guys, I'm just turning off the slide because there's a bit of glare. What else we got here? Coach, please cover Kings of the Streets realism. What's King of the Streets? Is that crazy street fighting stuff? Hold on, let me look it up. King of the Streets. King of the Streets. Let me look it up. King of the Streets. Yes, it's that crazy. Wait, is this 1.7 million followers? Yeah, they're fighting in. Oh, this is crazy, man. They're fighting in sneakers. Okay, now it's like a maybe sand or something they're on, maybe gravel. And bare knuckle MMA kicking. This is so brutal, man. Yeah, I'm skimming through it, guys. It's just this brutal MMA. Like, it's just brutal. They have 1.7 million followers. Wow, subscribers. That's crazy. King of the Streets. Those are the guys who couldn't make it in, high-level fighting. Why would you fight on YouTube? This is just, it's too brutal for me. I'm 46. What's the best way to keep in shape? That's from Abbott. Abbott, low impact, high intensity, low impact. Okay, now there's a variety of ways you can do that. There's a million and one ways. But I'll tell you, diet is number one. If you want to stay in shape, you have to diet properly. You have to have a good diet. I highly recommend Fasting for Fitness. Okay, it's one of my books. I have it on jujiclub.com. I'm on 1 meal a day right now. I'm doing OMAD, and I talk about how to do it. How to carb up, how to keep fit while you're fasting. It's not too complicated. It's quite simple. But if you do If your diet is on right, you're going to be fit. Okay. Fitness is so much about diet. It's so much about diet. Now, after that, you got to do a low impact, high intensity fitness. Coach, what's with the tan? That's from Charles Biddle. Am I tan more than usual? Not sure. Maybe it's a different lighting. Greetings from LaSalle, Jay Goodman. I used to live in LaSalle, believe it or not, so I know them quite well. Okay, guys, I got to kick out one of the children that's in the chat. All right. What's your top way of increasing cardio for jiu-jitsu and MMA? What's your favorite way to track heart rate? That's from Necrotic. Look, Necrotic, here's the thing. The more athletic you are, the better cardio you're going to have. Okay. But it takes time to transfer and translate that cardio or that athleticism, I should say, into jiu-jitsu. Okay. So imagine you're training two different people. Okay. Let's say one was a professional hockey player and the other one has been working behind a desk his entire life. And everything else is equal. Okay. One has a background in professional hockey and the other guy has a background in pushing pencils. And they weigh the same, everything's the same, and they both learn how to grapple. The guy who has a background in hockey is going to go a lot further. Why? His body's been exposed to high intensities. His body's been exposed to high intensity. So when you're doing your air bike, when you're swinging the kettlebell, when you're doing your pull-ups, your body's being exposed to intensity. And when I say intensity, another good word for it is stress. I'm exposing my body to stress, more stress per second than in jiu-jitsu. So let's say when I'm sprinting, I'm doing 400-meter sprints. It's very intense. The calories burnt per second is higher than what I'm going to do in jiu-jitsu. So my tendons are going to get stronger. My joints are going to get stronger. My bones are going to get thicker. My muscles are going to become more robust. So then when I go to grappling is not going to seem so intense. Okay, so intensity is the real secret. If you slowly give your body doses of high intensity training, and I think it should be low impact, high intensity training, it doesn't really matter the exercise. I think you have to give your body different types of intensities. There's different types of exercises. But the real thing is we're looking for intensity. Once I'm acclimated to high levels of intensity, grappling's going to feel mild. Okay, now when you grapple, you're going to build specific cardio for grappling, but you have to grapple to build that specific cardio. So if you give me somebody who has a background in, let's say, professional hockey, like I was talking about earlier, and I make him grapple, he's going to get really tired. He's going to get really, really tired. It's going to take him time to learn when he should spend his energy and when he should conserve his energy. And he's going to be doing movements he's not used to doing, so they're going to be inefficient. But ultimately, he has a lot of stored potential. Why? He's got thicker tendons. He's got robust muscles. He's got thicker bones. You know, he could take the beating of jiu-jitsu and recover and come train the next day. But that athleticism is going to take time to translate. Okay, so there's so many ways to get in shape. Pushing sleds, swinging a kettlebell, body weight exercise, sprinting, row machine, air bike. There's just so many ways. Just make sure you keep intensity high. And high for you, okay? And high for you, high intensity workout is like 70%, 80%, 85% of your max. You don't need to go hit 95%, okay? Keep intensity high. And as you get more experience, you could flirt with even higher levels of intensity, but give your body time to acclimate. Coach, have you tried incorporating the ecological approach? Yes, that's from Assam. Assam, I have a little bit, okay, and I'm reading some research more and more, but I'm having a little trouble with the research because it's a lot of the research that I've hit so far, and believe me, I've only hit 1%. Okay, there's a lot of research out there. It's going to take me some time. They're comparing static drilling with live drilling, okay, ecological method. That doesn't make any sense, okay? Like, I want you guys to think about Steven Seagal. You know, Steven Seagal, somebody's going to attack him like this, and then Steven Seagal is going to do this move, and he's going to look super good and super choreographed. And then you think on the other side, you know, think about like Muhammad Ali sparring in the ring, and you're like, wow, both these guys are really awesome. I wonder what happens if you put them together to fight each other. Well, I'll tell you, before the test even happens, Muhammad Ali will whoop the floor with him. Why? He's sensitive to timing. He reads body language. His sparring partners are not cooperating with him. He's in the chaos. Okay, let's call it that. It's in the chaos. He learned. He's bred in the chaos. Steven Seagal has a guy who's just moving really predictably in a slow fashion, and he's not going to resist his Steven Seagal at all. He's not going to resist him. He's just going to give him his arm to Steven Seagal, and Steven Seagal's going to do whatever he wants. So they're comparing a lot of Steven Seagal training to live training. And here's the thing. That's crazy. Because that's not what's going on in jiu-jitsu. Okay? And a lot of the studies are on soccer, tennis, baseball. And there's another problem with that. Okay? So I'll get to that later. I'll just put that on the side for now. In jiu-jitsu, what we're telling you is like, we sparred like Muhammad Ali. We went live. We learned things. We're teaching you these things. And then we want you to get in the ring or in the mats and fight and figure out how to do them in real time. Get in the chaos. We're all about the chaos. There's so much chaos in what we do. So I was hoping to see a study where they have one group doing Steven Seagal type training, one group doing games, okay, and then one group doing both Steven Seagal training and life training. But so far, I'm not saying there isn't any studies like that. Just so far, I haven't come to a study like that. So I came about one study where they're comparing young kids dribbling a football. Okay, so I should say a soccer ball, excuse me, a soccer ball. You guys call it soccer. We call it soccer here in the West. Through cones. And then another group, they're doing a ecological type training where two kids have a soccer ball, but they're playing tag. They're trying to run after one another and tag one another. Now, I would tell you for sure, the ecological is going to be a better experiment. Why? Because there's a live feedback and the kid's under pressure. The kid is under pressure. He's got to run away with the ball. Not only has he got to control the ball, he's got to run away with it. He's got to zigzag. He's got to run around. Now, I would tell you, I would like to see the drilling where they have to go through cones if the coaches were timing the effort of the young students. They weren't timing them. They were just making them go through cones while the kid's going to be lazy, right? There's nobody pushing him. He's just going to kind of dribble the ball at his leisure. He's just having fun. So far, all the studies I've come across, they're a little bit, I would say, poorly designed. Okay, now again, I've just scratched the surface. Give me time, circle back to me. I'm going to have a lot more experience in the future. Okay, so far, I haven't seen really exciting studies. That remains to be seen. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are many. Okay. And here's the thing. I do situational training. I do chaotic training. I do sparring. I do situational sparring. I do a lot of it already. It exists. It's old. It's nobody has invented that. It's like it's so old we don't know who invented it. Is what I'm trying to say. Okay. This exists from a long time ago. What's new is no drilling. Don't drill and just do the situational and restrictive games. That's new. Okay. So I haven't seen a world-class grappling or combat sport throw out drilling. Now, that doesn't mean it's not possible. Doesn't mean that. That's why we're trying to find out. Okay, that's the question we're trying to answer. But I got to tell you that we started doing like ecological games and people were not as into it. Okay, so it wasn't that fun. And fun is important. So some of the guys did it a bit, then they kind of got bored of it because the thing is you're restricting them and then they want to go into a more complex, they want to just roll. So that's the thing. It's like I like situational or positional training. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I got the underhook, and usually I do this drill a lot, okay, because I like to practice underhook a lot. I'm a big underhooker. If I grab you from an underhook, I got to be able to take you down. So the only restriction I give the other guys, like, hey, don't run away. Don't undo the whizzer and try to run away from me, Fight me back with your whizzer, and we're engaging. That's the only thing. Because some guys, you get the underhook on them, and right when we say go, like, the guy strips down the whizzer and just runs away. And it's just, I'm getting no time on the underhook. And it would be hard to do that in a real match, okay? It can happen for sure. But with the momentum behind a wrestling exchange, usually the underhook's not so easy to strip. So, look, I don't think it's bad. I'm scratching the surface. I'm studying it a little bit more. I'm going to go through some more and more research. I've been looking at it on a regular basis now. I'm excited to explore it and see if we can, make a leap forward. But for right now, I'm still drilling. I still believe in the power of drilling. I think it has its place. It's not ultimate, because if you just drill, then you're Steven Seagal. That would be crazy. Nobody thinks you should just drill. Nobody thinks that. Coach, should I do surgery for my meniscus? That's from Gurgis Newer. I personally don't recommend it. Okay, I have one knee. Both my knees have no meniscus. I've torn my meniscus in both knees. One of them I had it repaired. It tore again. It wasn't worth repairing. In my opinion, it was a bad experience. Just by doing strong and stable knees program, I rehabilitate my knees. I have zero pain. It could take a year. Okay, but if you look, strong and stable knees is on your screen right now. Get it. I highly recommend it. I have super healthy knees. Okay, sometimes I tweak my knee here and there, but by and large, my knees are super strong, super resilient, super healthy. I still run the program till this day. I still do my program till this day in my knees. I wrestle every day and sometimes twice a day. Okay, every single day I'm on the mats. Every single day I'm rolling and I'm drilling and I'm doing all that stuff, and my knees are super healthy. Okay, so I highly recommend you just do physio. You really did a number on me on Joe Rogan when you explained how not even science is concrete evidence or reliable at 100%. You SOB, you. That's from Ace Dangerfield. Well, Ace, I'm not the one who came up with that, So I have a degree in philosophy. For those of you who are new to the channel, I have a degree in philosophy. I have a very heavy background in philosophy. So I would tell you, I'm not the one who came up with it. Okay, so when Immanuel Kant read David Hume's Pure Reason, David Hume wrote a piece called Pure Reason. Okay, it was an incredible essay. Changed, I would say, the face of European thinking. Okay. Immanuel Kant, who was at the time a metaphysics professor, said to David Hume, you've awoken me from my dogmatic sleep. What does it mean, dogmatic? Dogmatic is like when you believe something and you just believe it, and there's nothing's going to change your mind. And you just believe it because you believe it. There's no explanation. You just believe it. You're being dogmatic. You're being closed-minded. You're not entertaining the possibility that you might be wrong. You're dogmatic. You're a runaway train with this belief. You believe it and that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. A logician of the caliber of Immanuel Kant to say something like that is pretty astounding. He's like, look, you awoke me from my dogmatic sleep. After reading your essay on Pure Reason, I've now have a mind shift. I've changed the way I think, and I was being dogmatic before. So hearing something like that for the first time can really shock somebody. And at first, generally people are upset and angry, and they're, for some reason, like offended. And it's kind of crazy. Coach, is MMA/boxing harmful for the brain, as they say? That's from JB19. I don't agree. No, look, I do a lot of touch sparring. I don't think you need hardcore sparring. Okay, I think you need to spar some. And as you start with touch sparring, you can graduate to harder sparrings, but you don't need a lot of hard sparrings. You don't need. Okay, I'll tell you something. Some of the top fighters in the world, they don't do the hardest sparrings. Now, the pros, I think you need some amount for a certain period, and you need to do it during training camps for a certain few weeks. Between fights, you could take a break from hard sparring, and then when the fight comes, you put hard sparring because you get a little bit more edge, you get a little bit more endurance. But throughout the year, most of your sparring should be touch, technical, and playful. Okay, so I really don't believe you should be getting hit in the head on a regular basis all the time, super hard. Please make a mat return and shoot boxing instructional, coach. Love your instructionals. That's from Brandon. Brandon, thank you very much. My next one is probably going to be rapid fire wrestling drills, and or a lot of people want me to do an ultimate guard retention. I'm probably going to do that as well. So that's coming out shortly. What do you think of Jordan Peterson's appearance versus 20 atheists at Jubilee? That's from Gabriel Amarila. Amarila, I'll tell you, I wasn't impressed, okay? Like, I saw only a little bit of it. I found it ridiculous. Jordan Peterson's like, I never said I was a Christian. And, like, the guy's like, oh, the debate is 20 atheists versus a Christian. Like, you should, read the title of the debate. He was denying being a Christian after capitalizing on Christianity over and over again for the last probably 7 years. He's been representing Christianity in all the top discussions. It's like now he's saying, oh, I never said I was a Christian. It's like, what? You're not a Christian? It's just incredible the level of sophistry, how he won't give a clear answer, how he's just babbling, man. He's just babbling, talking in circles. He's just so scared to be wrong. Little Roy says, Salam coach, any advice on coming back from rib injury? I injured my rib 4 weeks ago on an awkward twisting motion from front headlock where I turned in one direction and my partner tried turning me in another direction. That's from Little Roy. Little Roy, I could tell you something. Rib injuries can be very serious. They can take a long, long time. Actually, I just had one of my students. He won a local show title and he was fighting this guy, a very jacked and dangerous Brazilian guy. And the Brazilian guy was like throwing heavy leather. Check out the Last Samurai event. It was the main event. They were fighting for a featherweight title. And as they were exchanging, my student got underneath him, double-legged him, took him to the fence, picked him up. Okay, he picked him up with like a body lock, ukigoshi. And the guy's ribs just crack, 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 crack. So badly that I had to signal to the referee, hey, this guy, I thought it was his shoulder came apart because he was on the ground like this. So my student Mahdi's on top of him, side control, and the guy on the bottom is like this. He's holding his arm up, and I thought his arm was dislocated because why would he hold his arm up in the air like that, right? And he was like, I saw he was in agony, and my student got off him, and the ref still didn't know what was going on. He's like looking at him, and he's like, oh, you're injured. And then he had his arm up like this, and so I was looking. He was pointing at his ribs, and I could tell you, and the guy has like 40 fights. Okay, this guy's a tough guy. Like he's a very tough guy. He's not. It's not a little boo-boo here. Okay, this guy's ribs are mangled. Now, if your ribs are hurt, you can usually put your hand down, and it's painful in the rib area, of course. But when your arm is up like this, and you're pointing at your ribs, and you can't put your arm down, man, that's a really bad rib injury. And I've had bad rib injuries in the past, nothing like this, but the guy was in agony. Instead of getting the stretcher, they let the guy get up. They helped him up. First of all, you're not supposed to help somebody up with a badly injured rib. If somebody hurts their neck or their spine or their ribs, it's very dangerous. Ribs, you can puncture a lung, okay? You can puncture a lung. You can have broken ribs, you can puncture your own lung. Anyways, long story short, they should have took him out in a stretcher. Instead, they picked him up. The guy was still, 5 minutes later, he was still in agony. They were still trying to get him to walk out of the octagon. It was crazy. Absolute craziness. So look, I'll tell you something. I've seen so many rib injuries. It's a very common thing in jiu-jitsu. I would tell you, come back slowly with flow rolling. Because a lot of times, it's not necessarily the bone. It's tight muscles and cartilage. Come back gently, flow rolling. I would do a little bit of weightlifting, see how my body feels. But if you have still a sharp pain in your ribs, don't live roll. Drill, do weights. Drill, do your weights, do your conditioning. And then when you feel that in your conditioning you have no pain in your ribs, go to flow rolling. Start on top. Tell people, hey, look, I'm flow rolling, coming back from rib injury. I'm just going to be on top. If we sweep me, we stop. Okay, great. It makes you a little CLA, ecological training at the same time. So you train. If you get swept, stop. Okay. If you pass the guard and you get side control and your ribs and rib contact and you feel like, hey, my ribs are fine, then start rolling normally. Okay. So just slowly get back in the water, play top game. Look, I recently hurt my back. Like maybe about a month ago. Okay. When I was doing my rehab for my back, nothing serious. I just tweaked my back. I just play top game. I told my partners, look, I'm only playing top game, not playing bottom game. Because, when you spin underneath, sometimes it's tight on the back. People put weight on you. It can strain the muscles. Things can get worse. My training partners are fine with it. Okay, no problem. If I sweep you, we stop. Okay, just for safety. And now my back is better. I'm playing guard as usual, and I'm back to normal. But you want to go back slowly, play top position. So ultimately speaking, when you get injured, you want to do your drills, then your conditioning, skip the rolling. And when you're doing your conditioning, everything's controlled, builds the confidence to go to flow rolling. From flow rolling, you can go back to regular rolling. Please search a book called The Fall of Public Man. That's from Eggers. I'll try to keep that in mind. Fall of Public Man. This better be a good book. Was it Robert Greene? Did Robert Greene come out with a new book? No, it's not Robert Greene. Richard Sennett, Fall of the Public Man. Interesting. A landmark study on urban society reissued by the 40th anniversary original publication with new epilogue by author, a sweeping, far-sighted study of the changing nature of the public culture and urban society. The fall of public man spans more than 2 centuries of Western socio-political evolution and investigates the causes of our declining involvement in political life. Richard Sennett's insight into the dangers of cult of individualism remains thoroughly relevant to our world today. In a new epilogue, he extends his analysis to the new public realm of social media, questioning how public culture has fared since the digital revolution. Very interesting book, Corrosion of Character, the Personal Consequences of Work in New Capitalism. Okay, no, that's another book, Corrosion of Character. Very interesting. Our times have changed people's character. I totally agree with you. An interesting book for me to check out. Thank you. All right, guys. For some reason, YouTube is lagging on me, so I'm going to have to refresh here. Forgive me if I've cut off for a second. All right, what else we got here? Guys, don't worry. I'm always doing super chats and non-super chats, but I try to get the super chats out of the way so they don't expire. Coach, how do you explain people lacking fitra? Their intuition doesn't lean towards God. That's from NYX. Okay, what's fitra? Fitra is this innate belief in God. Well, they suppressed it. Like people suppress memories, people suppress bad experiences. I think ultimately it's ego. You become enamored by the self. It's really the ego. Because, when you're young, you discover that there's the world and there's me, and those are two separate things. That happens at a very young age. People become enamored with their own voice, their own look, their own face, their own hand, their own achievements, their reputation. They get so enamored by it that it eclipses their belief of the fitra. Thoughts on JDM versus Bilal and JDM versus Islam? That's from Nick. The Bilal fight was tough. It was closer than I thought. I went there, rewatched it. It was close. I didn't hear too many people complaining about the decision, but I don't think it was a bad decision. It was a tough fight. Islam, I think, might do better. He's going to do better. Why? He's going to have more secure takedowns. His top game is very, very strong. And he knows what to expect a little more now. He knows the escapes that JDM was using that Bilal maybe didn't see him use before. They were a little tricky. Gilbert, I think maybe made it seem too easy. The takedowns were too easy. He's evolved since then. I think Islam's going to be more ready, and his top game is going to be more secure. Islam is very difficult to get out from underneath. So we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting. This is from Abdulrahman Ibn Yusuf. What a name, mashallah. Salam, coach. I have a potential for marriage, and she is very special, outstanding even. Only thing giving me doubt is that she is quite short, and I want to have tall, athletic kids. Any advice? That's from Abdurrahman. Well, if you found the gem, don't let her height deter you. I would say, you know what? Go for it. If you found such a gem, go for it. It's not going to be the end of the world. And if your kids are short, I mean, look, Volkanovski's 5'6". How tall is Ilia Topuria? Let's look it up. Topuria height. Let's look it up. 1.7 meters. What kind of metric system is this? 5'7". Okay, so look, with good nutrition, plenty of exercise, your kid should. I don't know how short she is. Okay, but if you're not too short, 5'6" is on the short side these days because people are getting taller as the years go by. I don't think it should be a deal breaker. Short people can be just as successful as anybody else. Okay, just for you, something for you to think about. This is from L. Coach, should you always try to avoid street fight even if you train? Been tangling with this. Being a coward / showing patience. Look, I will tell you something. Avoid street fights at all costs. At all costs. Look, if somebody's beefing with you, try to walk away. It shows confidence, shows that you're, If you're regularly training, why should you fight with a guy? Why? You're gonna get sued. You're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna have a lawsuit on your hands. It's gonna be a nightmare. And if the guy really wants to fight, you say, look, let's go to the gym. Let's glove up. Let's do it legal. Let's do it legal. And watch how his face is gonna change. I prefer you guys glove up, put a mouthpiece on, put a cup on, duke it out in the gym with the rules, supervision, then do it in the street. Why? Man, you punch a guy, you kick him in the head, you break his jaw, the guy suffocates, dies on then you have manslaughter charges. And or 1,001 other possibilities. It's gonna escalate to the guy wanting to stab you with a knife the next week. It's gonna escalate. If two people really want to fight, glove up and do it legally. That's what I would do if I was in a street fight. I haven't been in a street fight in many, many years. I would avoid it like the plague for sure. But if somebody really, really wanted to fight me, I would tell them, look, just glove up. And glove up, let's do it. But even that, try to avoid that. Coach, I started thinking, man, guys, your grammar. Please, your grammar. Coach, I'm starting think judo is underrated for MMA. Marab, DDP, Kyla, and RDR all started in judo as kids. Jeremy, thank you, but work on your grammar a little bit. Look, they started with judo. Judo builds great athleticism, but Marab used double legs, right? He used double legs. Sure, he did some nice trips on the wall. I believe it's both. If you do judo and wrestling together, it's the best. But wrestling has all the judo throws in it. Okay, so I like both. I like marrying both. I think both are good. If you do judo training, it's going to help you with your throwing. That's going to build strength. It's going to build explosiveness. And you mentioned DDP. DDP also shoots the legs all the time. He shoots the legs all the time. Kayla Harrison, yes, of course. She's a great judoka. She's more of a body locker, but you can see she has trouble closing the distance sometimes. And the women's division, here's the thing, you got to be fair, okay? Women's judo is super competitive. Women's freestyle wrestling is competitive, but it's a much newer sport in terms of pedigree, okay? Because for sure the women are great, but there's not as many women in freestyle wrestling for some reason as there is in judo. Maybe it's the gi, maybe it's the attractiveness of the sport, but competitive judo is filled with women, okay? Freestyle wrestling now, it's more than before, but they don't have the pedigree that judo has, in my opinion, okay? A lot of them convert their judo to wrestling, so wrestling definitely has its place as well. Jack Neer, Coach, can you talk about what is the concept of Ibn al-Waqab about in Tasawwuf? I heard it's about being present at the moment and not thinking about past nor future. Should we not have goals? That's from Jankir. Jankir al-Waqat. I'm not familiar with that term, so I'll have to get back to you. Al-Waqat, what's the translation? I'm sorry, my man. I'm just not familiar with what you're asking me. I know what the Tasawwuf is, but not al-Waqat. I'll have to look it up. Where do you and John Denar align or differ in training on broader philosophy? I think he mentioned being a materialist. Curious on your take. That's from Mob Jitsu. Mob Jitsu, I won't go too detailed in terms of he's into materialism, I'm into idealism. I won't go too much into that because I don't know how much you'd like me to share about him. But in terms of training, I think he emphasizes half guard. Like I do half guard, definitely. I believe in half guard. I train half guard. I do it all the time. But it's not one of my favorite guards. He really likes half guard. Now, I don't think anything wrong with half guard. You can become a half guard specialist. But if you look at guys like Rafa Mendez and Marcelo Garcia, there's a lot of guys who don't do much half guard. They try to avoid half guard and funnel you into their other favorite guards. I personally like open guard. I like De La Hiva. I like K-guard. I like all the Ashigaramis. You guys might call it single leg X guard. I like those guards. I also use half guard. People think I don't use half guard. Of course I use half guard. It's just not my favorite guard. He likes half guard. He likes to initiate and induce half guard. And I would say that's where probably the biggest difference in our jiu-jitsu philosophies are. I prefer inducing other guards. To what extent is our sense of masculinity shaped by biology? And to what extent is it all social construct projected onto something as simple as a body part. That's from Stephen T. Well, Stephen T., think about this, okay? Think about this. You have a stomach, right? Okay. Stomach, hunger. Hunger is an idea. Hunger is an experience. You have a stomach, then you have the experience of hunger, right? A child is born, he grasps the doctor. He'll grasp the doctor's finger. The doctor will check his reflexes. Can he grasp? Yeah, he puts his finger by the kid's hand. If the kid grabs, okay, the kid has healthy reflex, etc. You have a hand, you want to grasp, okay? Of course, you have eyes, you want to see. People don't walk around voluntarily closing their eyes. They desire to look at something. They want to see something beautiful, something majestic, something amazing. So people have a desire to look at things. People have ears, then it comes with the desire to listen to amazing things. People love music, people love podcasts, people love just having discussions. They want to use that part of their body, right? Every body part comes with a desire or appetite or practice. Now, you might be lacking certain things. Like, for instance, I could see a bird, right? A bird has wings. Oh, wow, I wish I had wings. I imagine myself having wings and having this desire to fly. So you can have a surrogate desire. I can't swim like a dolphin, but when I see them zipping around the ocean, I wish I had fins. Okay? So this is Schopenhauer. Okay? Schopenhauer would tell you, look at the man. The man is built different. The man is more robust. The man is more muscular. The man has more testosterone. Testosterone is a risk-centric hormone. Don't forget, by and large, on planet Earth, we're 50-50 with women. 50% women, 50% men. However, there's slightly more men born, more boys born. But because they take more risks than women, they die more often. So nature kind of balances out of 50-50. Yes, there's a little bit more boys being born, but because they take more risks, they die off more. It's about 50-50 in nature, roughly speaking, okay? Men take more risk. Men have more risk in terms of sexual exploit. So let me give you a for instance. Imagine a man sleeps with 100 women. What are his risks really? Imagine he got them all pregnant. Imagine. His body hasn't changed. He can get up and go to the next town and just disappear. You know, he could do a lot. There's no biological risk to him. So according to Schopenhauer, because there's no biological risk to his health, psychologically, he's willing to take the risk. Look at a woman, for instance. Let's contrast that with a woman. If a woman has sexual intercourse, this is Schopenhauer, guys. Okay, this is not my ideas. She's taking a risk. One, she can get pregnant. Okay, now you have to remember, people evolved over time with these instincts. So it doesn't matter. Oh, well, you can just go get an abortion, or you can wear a prophylactic, or you can take the pill. Forget all those things right now. We're talking about the subconscious. How is our most innate sense, the deep, dark side of our body? Okay, the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, the woman is more selective. Why? If she gets pregnant, that's a lot of time and energy and resources she has to account for. She's going to be pregnant for 9 months. It's going to forever change her body. It's going to fluctuate on her hormones. She's going to have a child attached to her. She's going to have to be responsible for that child for, let's say, minimum a decade and a half. Let's go in ancient world, okay? Let's call it a good decade. She's feeding that person, taking care of that person, cleaning that person, watching over that person. There's a lot of time and energy, and not only that, she's more at risk. She has to find more resources now than before. So a woman's natural instinct, the women who were successful, they found the guy they could trust, and they were selective. The guy had to be a provider and a protector, and he had to stick around long enough to fulfill those duties. A man, if he got a girl pregnant, well, how useful could she be now on the farm? Well, I'm sure she could contribute, but not like before. She can't work 10-hour days like she used to. She can't carry as much as she used to. Now that she has a baby, she has to tend to the baby. She can't be working in the field. She can't be putting the time and energy she used to put in the field, right? So the woman puts so much more risk. First of all, in the ancient world, women died and when they were giving birth. Often. It was a heavy risk for them. Okay, so the ones who were more careful survived. The ones who were more reckless didn't survive. Okay? This is psychology of evolution as well. Look at man. Man is more robust. He's more built for physical fighting. If you put two people of the same weight and training experience, one is a man, one is a woman, guys, let's be honest. The man's going to win. There's going to be some exceptions. Out of 100, you might have 2 women win. There's going to be some exceptions, but by and large, the men are going to win. So Schopenhauer would tell you, he would predict for you that men are going to fight more often. Men are going to be more promiscuous. Men are going to be more risk-taking. He would have predicted. He was trying to explain to you, why are men so prone to risk? Because think about it. After you hit puberty, you can have children for the rest of your life, right? You can have children for the rest of your life. A woman only has 3 or 4 days where she's ovulating, one time a month, and she only can ovulate for a certain period of her life. And if she gets pregnant too late in her life, it's actually super dangerous for her health. So it narrows the window. Her chance of having offspring is narrow. If she's successful, she's going to be very selective. Because there are other social problems as well. Imagine a woman has a child with a guy who's very undesirable. Okay, he's a drunk, he's irresponsible, he's abusive, he's all these bad things. Well, now she's got to take care of that kid and deal with this guy in her life. So when the next guy comes around, he's going to be like, well, I would like that girl. She was a good fit for me. She was a good prospect. But because she has this history, it's maybe more trouble for me than I need. Let me go to the next girl. So she's actually, in terms of sexual market value, lowering her value on the sexual market. Think about it. If you met your ideal girl, would you say, oh, I wish for her to have children already, or have a really bad ex that's in her life and have to deal with him as well? You probably wouldn't if you had your ideal pick. Now, I have nothing against people getting remarried, people with children. I totally respect that. I understand life happens. Sometimes a woman makes a good choice and then she finds out later it wasn't a good choice and the guy was a bad guy, and you may have to deal with something like that. I totally understand. All I'm trying to say is it's not optimal. Most men don't desire that, right? And sometimes you might meet an amazing woman, but she had an experience in her life where, maybe she was different in the past, or she was married and the guy turned out to be not such a good guy, and it can happen. Okay, life happens, guys. Please, I'm not trying to say it's anything wrong. All I'm trying to say is that it's more risky for a woman. Now, a man can have an ex who's a little bit crazy and she could be difficult to deal with for the new wife, etc. I believe that as well. Okay, but men are more of a physical threat. Men are more of an abusive threat, physical threat. Why? Because most child abuse is when the father's not there and a new man comes in. Then your child abuse statistics skyrocket. Men are more dangerous. Men are more predatory. And women are more victim. Okay, if you eliminate sexual assault cases from prisons, because men get more sexually assaulted than women, actually, believe it or not, statistically. But that's because of prison. If you take that out, we're talking about regular society, day-to-day society. You're not worried about prison because you're never going to jail, and that's like just 2% of the population that have to live with that. We don't know anything. We're not people who go to jail. In our society, men are the predators. Men. Always. 99.9% of the time. I won't say 100, because I know somebody's going to show me some kind of case from 1981 where it was a woman the predator. Okay, fine. It does exist. But it's less than 2%. Okay, let's call it that. Okay, I'll give you even more breathing room. I won't say 1%. 2% of the time, it's women. The vast majority of the time, it's men. So look, just to go back what you're saying. It is both. It's nature and nurture. The way that you're built changes your psyche. If you're 5'8" and tomorrow I somehow make you 6'2", it's going to alter your psyche. If I add 50 pounds of muscle on you, it's going to alter your psyche. If I overnight give you a jiu-jitsu black belt, an MMA black belt, your professional level fights, it's going to alter your psyche, guys. That's why I tell you guys, it doesn't matter if you're 5'6". Some guys come, right, me, coach, I'm 5'6", I'm 5'5". What do I do? Guys, it doesn't matter. You can acquire skills, knowledge. You can build your confidence. You can build experience between your 2 ears. You can increase it by acquiring skills, by acquiring abilities. There's nothing, guys, there's tons of elite. Now, I won't just say fighters, okay? Forget fighters. There's tons of elite experts out there. Maybe you're a businessman. Maybe you're an engineer. Maybe you're one of the top. Guys, you can build confidence in various ways. Now, on this channel, of course, we talk about fighting all the time. So I'm going to point you to the guys I know. I know boxers who are 5'4" who are super confident. I know, how tall is, I hate to use Mayweather as an example, but how tall is he? He's not a big guy. I bet you whatever they put up, he's shorter than that. Let me look it up. Let's see here. Let's see, box rec. Do they have it? Bounce 50. 5'8". There's no way he's 5'8", guys. There's no way. I guarantee you it's a lie. The box rec guys, they know him well. There's no way he's 5'8". He's a short guy. He's not a big guy. He's probably like 5'5". There's no way he's 5'8". It says here 1.73 meters. Let's see what that translates to. 5'8". There's no way he's 5'8". There's no way. Let's see Pac-Man. Pac-Man, they say 5'6". I'm telling you guys, there's no way Mayweather's 5'8". Anyways, I'd love to see the real height. It's probably 5'6", 5'5". 5'7" would be crazy. 5'7" would be a stretch. Build a presence of stability, strength, and confidence, and women will throw themselves at ya. Infinite options will present themselves. Eat steak, sun your testicles, train combat, buy Bitcoin, and escape. That's from Zayn. Zayn, a lot of wisdom what you're saying there. A lot of wisdom. Look, build your life and women will follow. Don't try to find women and then build your life. You're going to meet disaster. I promise you. I promise you. Don't chase women. Don't chase women. Focus on building your life, building yourself, build, and let the women be a nice byproduct. And find yourself a nice girl that way. Okay, so I would tell you guys, this is one of my top advice. Build success first. Build success first. And success is a very open-ended question here. Okay, educate yourself, not just physical, guys. Okay, educate. Train, yes. Buy Bitcoin, yes. Get property, start business, become knowledgeable, learn, read books, expand your mind. All these things are good. All these things. Personal growth. The more you grow personally, the more your life is going to be good. How do I... Zakir, I just became a father to two girls. MashaAllah. MashaAllah, Zakir. God bless you. I just became a father to two girls. I have tough relationship with my father, and your advice has made me better, father and man. What's the best advice your father gave you? Shout out to Oban Elliott, UFC. Look, the best advice my father ever gave me was defend yourself. Once upon a time, I was crying, and my dad slapped me and told me to go defend myself. I got beat up by my brothers. I thought my dad would help me up, and my brothers were older, bigger. He just slapped me and told me to defend myself. He didn't say it in that nice way. He used a worse language than that. But I will tell you something. That shifted something in my mind, and that was probably what made me obsessed with martial arts. Obsessed. Now, I'm not saying you should do that. My father's maybe a little bit extreme for some of you, but he made me realize that I need to learn how to depend on myself, how to defend myself, how to grow up and start thinking of how I'm not going to let other people hurt me, beat me up, slap me around. So it made me grow up. And guys, I was really young. I was maybe like 7 or 8 years old here. I was a young kid. And I guess he was just sick of hearing me complain that my brothers beat me up. And it was the best advice he can give me, to be honest with you all. But of course, if you do that today, people will throw up their arms and say, "Oh, this is bad parenting. Your father's crazy. This is insane." F all that. I'ma wait for an AI girlfriend and UBI Gibbs. I don't know what UBI Gibbs is, but that's from Tuxedo Mask. Tuxedo Mask, guys. He's throwing up. He's throwing up his hands, throwing in the towel. He's going for the AI companionship. I tell my wife, I said, look, I have a robot that cleans. I have a dishwasher. I have a washing machine. I have Uber Eats. All I need is one more robot. One more robot. I threaten her all the time. Say, and I know the Japanese are working on it. They got all these, I joke, of course. It's just a joke, a running gag. I make it my family. You can't replace a flesh and blood woman. Tuxedo, don't be despair. If I was you, I know it's difficult to find a good woman these days, but they're still out there. It's still possible. Consider going to another country. Consider looking in a different area. Maybe you can have more success. I'm looking for a carpentry job and I'm trying MMA. Is there a way I have to schedule it to make sure I don't overtrain? And how long should I train? That's from Matt. Matt, look, I will tell you something. If a scale of 1 to 10, 10 you're cooked, like you wake up the next day and you can barely get out of bed, and 1, you wake up the next day and you feel like you didn't train, find 7. 6, play around between 6 and 7 until you can tolerate trainings of level 8, 8.5, 8.7. So start with 6 and 7, okay? 60%, 70% effort. Don't cook yourself too bad. Don't overdo it in the practice room. Try to continue showing up to practice on a regular basis, okay? After that, when you go in higher levels of intensity, cycle your training. 3 hard weeks of training, 1 easy week, okay? If you read Strong and Stable Knees, I teach you how to cycle your training. It's in there. You want to do 3 hard weeks of training, and then the 4th week is a little bit easier, where you're doing about 50% of what you normally do. What else we got here? Any advice on quitting smoking cigarettes? That's from Lame MMA. Lame MMA, I want you to take a big sum of money, okay? I want you to take like $1,000, $2,000 and give it to your best friend and tell your best friend, look, I'm not going to smoke again from here on out. You give him that money. And you say, look, if in 6 months from now, I didn't smoke a single cigarette, give me back my money. If I smoke 1 cigarette in the next 6 months, keep this money. It's got to be the right amount. It's got to be an amount that hurts, that you don't want to part with. Okay, this is called the death ground strategy. There's a consequence to me breaking my decision. I made a decision. I'm no longer smoking. I've decided not to smoke. I'm going to find a good friend of mine. I'm going to give him something. It doesn't have to be money. It could be something else to hold for me. And you make a day. You say, look, on this day, if I haven't smoked all the way up to this day, you give me back my deposit. You give me back my car keys. You give me back my favorite bicycle, whatever it may be. But pull the pin on the grenade. Give somebody you trust something that you know they'll keep it safely, and you tell them, if I break the rules, the money's yours, the asset is yours, then you're going to think twice before you light up, my friend, and make sure it's something you're not willing to part with. And the only reason why I give you such an extreme example is because smoking is really bad for you, man. Kick that habit yesterday. Kick it now, today. Ilia versus Charles. Who do you got? That's from It's Gabriel's Plays. Gabriel, I would tell you I heavily favor Ilia. I think everybody, I was about to do today. Today I was going to do Ilia versus Charles Oliveira pre-fight analysis, but I was like, look, we're all going to agree. We're all going to agree. It's going to be 95. Let's do it for fun. Let's do a poll for fun. I'm predicting 95% are going to say Ilia. Hold on a second. How do you do a poll? Okay, Charles, Ilia, or Charles? Okay, so who wins? Who wins, Ilia or Charles? I bet you 95%. That's why I didn't do it, because I'm like, we're all going to say Ilia. It's not I like to do fights that are like 50-50. Not sure. Super hard to say. Super tough. Guys, I'm predicting Ilia. The only way I think Charles could win is if he throws a knee up the middle and just cracks Ilia, because Ilia has a boxing style where I think he's kind of leaning into the knee a bit. I don't see him winning with kicks. I don't see Charles winning with kicks. I don't see Charles winning with boxing. I don't see Charles winning with takedowns. I think if he shoots an Ilia, he's going to get smashed. He's going to get rejected. He's going to get pinned. He's going to get crushed. I don't see him winning on the ground. I just don't see him winning anywhere. The boxing is going to be Ilia. The kicking is going to be Ilia. It's just everywhere I see Ilia, except maybe one way. I'm predicting Charles is going to run up at him, do like a flying push kick to the face, flying knee. He's going to do something. It's not going to land. Ilia's too smart. He's going to circle out of the way. Footwork's going to be on. Oliveira's going to do wild and crazy things in round one. Ilia's going to defend, settle in slowly. He's going to just eventually tee off and crush him. I think he's going to knock him out, or he's going to TKO him on the ground. I think we all think that. I'm going to look at the polls. We're at 65%. I think it's going to hit 90. It would shock me for below 90. Use your green card as collateral and quit any habit on fears of deportation. That's from Zayn. Zayn's like, if she doesn't behave, deport her. That's not a nice thing. I know you're being funny, but it's not nice. It's not a nice thing to say. Treat your woman well, but don't be a doormat. That's the key, guys. You treat women well, but don't be a doormat, because women will always test you. Oh, he treats me good. Maybe it's because he's desperate. Then she's going to try to step out of line. She's going to try to do something bold, something weird. You got to be like, hey, if we're going to be in this relationship, it can't be like that. Then she's going to be like, oh, wait a second. This guy, he has self-respect. He has lines. Don't be like Joe Biden, who has no lines. He draws a line, people step over, and he's like, oh, well, I guess the line doesn't matter. No, there are lines. If somebody oversteps those lines, you got to warn them nicely, you got to talk to them nicely, and after that, if they continue, you got to part ways. But most people are not willing to part ways. That's where people usually lose, because the other person knows you're not willing to part ways, so they'll keep stepping over the line because they know you don't follow through. Coach, I'm being pressured by my Muslim family to normally shake the hands of women. What are your thoughts on shaking the hands of women? That's from Talal. Talal, it's really up to you. You don't have to. You got to stand firm. If you don't think you should, why should you let your family pressure you? So look, here in the West, it's very normal. I know Khabib had an incident recently where he didn't want to shake a woman's hand. He put his hand on his heart. He saluted her. He said hello to her. He was polite to her. Don't let people enforce their culture on you. It's not illegal not to shake somebody's hand. So you got to do what seems right to you. Look, is it the hill you want to die on? That you got to decide, because there's a lot of other horrible things going on in society. So technically speaking, you shouldn't. And if you want to stand your ground, I would back you up 100%. Imagine a woman didn't want to be touched by another man. Nobody would complain. But say, like, it's her business. Well, here they get upset because the man doesn't want to be touched. Well, he doesn't want to be touched. So what? Let the guy be. His BJJ black belt and taller, he will knee Ilia to the head and body. That's from White Shadow. Yeah, I know they're both BJJ black belts, but I think Ilia's jiu-jitsu is more positionally sound. Now, I know Charles has got the crazy submission attempts. He's got crazy reach. He's got those darts, triangle. He's got a long reach, man. Those darts are dangerous. I just don't see it. Okay, I think positionally, Taporia is better. Coach, opinion on training with caffeine and energy drinks. That's from Frostilnik. I'll tell you, I use it. Okay, so I take coffee every morning. Sometimes I'm feeling a little bit of a lull. I like taking an nap in the afternoon. I wake up. Sometimes I have a second coffee. Sometimes I have 2 in the morning. Sometimes I have 1 in the morning, then 1 in the afternoon. Sometimes I just have 1 in the morning. So it varies. Okay, I try to cycle it. I'm not always on 3 cups a day. And then once in a while, I will take an energy drink. I like it. But once in a while, I don't take an energy drink every day. Okay, I like to take it every second or third week. I have to push a little bit. I'll take an energy drink. It makes me more alert. I do like it. Salam, coach, is your entire strong and stable program sufficient for complete conditioning? That's from X7. Yes, absolutely. Make sure to get strong and stable kettlebell, strong and stable running, strong and stable back, strong and stable knees, strong and stable shoulders. You'll be a machine. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if you've done those 5 programs, you can work a bench, you can work a pull-up scenario. Like, it's all in there. You will be fit for the rest of your life. Now, I'm going to make future strong and stables for sure, certainly. I'm going to go deeper in the system. But if you have those 5, look, I will tell you something. One overly looked system I have is strong and stable kettlebell. Guys, I can tell you, the kettlebell does so much. So much. It's a great way to get lean. It's a great way to get crazy strong. It's a great way to get in cardiovascular shape. It's amazing. Okay? But I would tell you the best seller is strong and stable knees and strong and stable back, and then probably strong and stable running. I haven't looked at it in a while. Strong and stable kettlebell is one of the lower ones, but it's still a super powerful tool. But there's a system. There's a way to work a kettlebell. I got to tell you something. People use the kettlebell in the gym. They think they know how they use a kettlebell. It's pathetic. Like, it's horrible. People don't know how to use kettlebell. They don't. I simplified it. I teach kettlebell, not competitive kettlebell. Okay, guys, if you look at a competitor, how they use kettlebell, they use it in a way that's not good for your back. Why? It saves them energy so they get more reps. They're doing it in a way that is more energy efficient but bad for your spine. I'm showing you in a way that's not as energy efficient, but the stress goes on the muscle and not on the L4, L5 disc. Okay, so you don't injure your back. The whole way I teach kettlebell is that you won't get injured. You're going to get strong. You're going to build conditioning. I guarantee you will be in great conditioning for the rest of your life. Guys, I'm 45 years old. I train literally every day. My cardio is in tip-top shape. Tip-top. Tippy-top. Yesterday, I did 6 rounds and 1 interval training. So let's call it 7 rounds. Today, I did 3 rounds. Tonight, I'm going to do probably 3 more rounds, 4 more rounds, and maybe an interval training. Like, it's just a lot of capacity. It's just a lot of training. But how do you get there? And almost every strong and stable knees, strong and stable back, it comes with a podcast answering really important questions. How to get organized, how to know reps and sets, how to know how much weight, etc. On his trip to Georgia, Marab showed Nina the mountain he trained on. How does elevation training impact cardio, and can it be recreated? That's from Irakli. Irakli, training in the mountains for sure teaches you to be more efficient with oxygen. Okay, so because you're training in the mountains, I've never seen a guy who trains in the mountains not have good cardio. You have less oxygen up there. The air is thinner, so your body has to exercise with less oxygen. So that when you go to Las Vegas and you're at sea level, there's more saturation. Your body can oxygenate the blood even better. It makes total sense. Now, can you recreate it? I got to be honest with you. I haven't read those studies in a long time. And the studies, when I was reading them back in the day, they weren't very promising. A lot of people bought tents back in the day and cycling in the tents and doing all this. I never seen a guy build good cardio with a tent. I've seen a lot of guys buy tents, and then a year or 2 years later, they weren't using them no more. So that's the thing. A lot of fads come into MMA. A lot of fads come into jiu-jitsu. A lot of fads come into combat sports, and then they're gone. You know, I'm wondering, in 5 years from now, are we talking about ecological training? Are we still talking about it? Or are we talking about situational, positional training being an important part, but it's not the end-all, be-all of jiu-jitsu? We're going to have to wait and see. There's going to be a lot of testing, a lot of experimenting to be done. But I'm really curious because that's the thing. I don't like to jump on every bandwagon, every new trend. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying be patient because a lot of guys are converting their school. Oh, I'm ecological now. Okay, let's see if you're ecological in 5 years from now. Let's see. I'm really curious. Because there could be a drawback from throwing out all the drilling. Because I remember like when we were coming up, there was Kit Dale. He was all like, no drilling, no drilling, no drilling. And there was another guy. Let me look him up. I actually rolled with him. Let me look him up. Hold on a second. Let me find you his name. I trained with him. He was a Hodger Gracie black belt. He was a Hodger Gracie black belt. What was his name again? Let me look him up. And he was like, no drilling. I don't do any drilling. I don't do any drilling. Hold on a second. Hunter Gracie black belts. About. Yeah, I can't find him online. He had a whole thing about no drilling. He was partnered with Kid Dale. Let's see. Articles. Let's see. This is here. Oh, man, I'm forgetting his name. I've rolled with the man. I've rolled with the guy. His jiu-jitsu was good. It was good. I mean, it wasn't, like, he was a good jiu-jitsu guy, but it didn't tell me, hey, I got to stop drilling because his jiu-jitsu is so good that, wow, this is another level. It wasn't like that. He was good at jiu-jitsu, but he told me he doesn't do any drilling. He just does, like, situational, positional stuff, and his mind doesn't learn that way. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Let's roll. We rolled, and, obviously, I'm not going to discuss what happened in practice, but it wasn't like, oh, I got to do ecological training. But he didn't call it ecological training. Okay? They were just like, we don't roll. And then Gary went up against Cadale. I remember him like guillotining him and maybe 30, 40 seconds. And then Cadale he was good, Cadale. He just didn't continue competing. At least I didn't hear about him competing anymore. So, but we had, like, when I was coming up, when I was a purple belt, there was a movement of no drilling. Don't drill, don't drill, don't drill. And now look, I'm trying to look him up and I'm not able to find him. But I'm trying to remember his name. I mean, I rolled with him like more than 10 years ago, I would say. Hey, Coach, I'm 24. Oh, sorry, guys. YouTube just skipped on me. I just refreshed for no reason. Hold on a second. Oh, boy, I lost that one I was reading. Damn it. Yassine, thank you very much. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Okay. I can't find it, guys. My apologies. I'm going to have to go to a new one. How to strengthen conditioning and skill work for high school wrestlers. That's from Forge. Forge, I would tell you, warm up with technique, do situational, then go live, like a live rounds if you have it in you. And then after that, after you've done all that, take a little break and do your conditioning. Pull-ups, push-ups, body weight, kettlebell, row. That's when I do my conditioning after practice. When I'm done, I'm fully warmed up. Now it's time to dig. I might do 3 rounds of 2 minutes on the Airdyne. I might do sled pushing. I might do whatever it is. Coach, I love you so much. Inshallah, one day we meet. That's from Amir. Amir, right back at you, my man. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you. Entrepreneur says, it's hard for me to see how Christianity is not superior to Islam due to the outstanding ascendance of the Christian Europeans. From Greco-Roman Empire to British Empire to United States Empire, current empire. Oh, well, I don't know. Does that make you better? Like, think about it. Does military might make somebody better? Was that what Christianity was about? Was Christianity about, hey, guys, we're going to get really, really organized and we're going to have this military might? If that's true, then in the 40s, Germany was the best society and they were atheists. Well, culturally, they were Christian, but they were throwing that by the wayside. Like, Hitler was not a fan of Christianity. He actually wanted to rewrite Christianity. He had something called positive Christianity or something like that. Some crazy thing where Jesus is not Jewish. He tries to remove Jesus from Judaism and all that. And he was trying to uproot Christianity. He was trying to get rid of Christianity the way we have it today. Does military might make you better? So was the Mongol religion superior? So is that what it is? See, it's the opposite, I would say. First of all, if that's true, wait around a few years because Islam's about to surpass Christianity. They're surpassing Christianity at a very alarming rate. Christianity is lowering in number every year, and Islam is growing faster by pure research, the most robust research in the world. So that would also mean that Islam was, once upon a time, the dominant force in the world. That was the best religion then. Is that how you define religion? Like whoever dominates the world better has the better religion? That's ridiculous. That's really ridiculous. Okay. And I will tell you something. you're wrong about history. You're really wrong. Because I would tell you, the Christians were super successful militarily, but they lost to Islam many times on the battlefield, many times. The Crusaders ultimately lost against the Muslims. The Muslims defeated the Crusaders, ultimately speaking. Ultimately, at the end, the Crusaders went back home and the Muslims conquered them. Now, you could say that the Crusaders are back because today, the Western powers control Jerusalem. That could be the case, but then in that case, it's not over then. Wait till the next wave of Muslims that come up. But what I'm trying to say is that's not how you should evaluate the merits of a religion. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. And I would tell you, look, if you look at Rome, they were most successful when they were pagan. When they converted to Christianity, Mr. Entrepreneur, about 400 years in, they converted to Christianity and they collapsed. They collapsed technologically, militarily. So the collapse came afterwards. And Islam swept the region. If it wasn't for Columbus going to the Americas, Christianity would very likely have been wiped out completely. And that wasn't a strategic thing. He kind of just stumbled upon the new world. And then he was able to bring back resources and he was able to help Spain remain strong. If it wasn't for Christopher Columbus discovering the new world, I don't think Christianity would be a major religion today. It wouldn't be. So who knows who's going to be the superpower of the future? Who knows? But is that how you decipher which religion is better than the other? I find that to be ridiculous. Your religion should correspond with the truth. It shouldn't have anything to do with military might. Nick something, Roger Gracie black belt. You know what? It does ring a bell. Nick something. Nick Jiu-Jitsu Brotherhood Roger Gracie. What was his name, man? It's bothering. Nicholas Gregorius? No, that wasn't him. Oh, yeah, actually, he was a Greek guy. Yes. Yeah, Nicholas Gregorius. Yes. Okay, he won stuff at purple belt, blue belt, purple belt, grappler of the year in France, 2007. Gracie Invitational, 2006, 2007. Look, in 2006, 2007, they were creating a movement, no drilling and stuff like that. It passed. It moved on. Maybe this time around, it's going to be something more detailed. It's going to be a different approach. Who knows, man? We're going to have to wait and see. Nicholas Gregorius was his name. Forgo religion and understand that the words of the prophets are available, but you make the journey alone. Zayn, I'm not sure where you're going with that one. Sorry to say, but doesn't. Let me read that again. Okay. Forgo religion and understand that words of the prophets are available, but you make the journey alone. Yeah, look, today every religion is available. You could study any religion and you could decide for yourself. Today, the information is out there. Before people wanted to propagate their religion, they had to go from one country to another and tell the world about it. They had to evangelize physically. Now, today, it's all on the internet. Thoughts on Iran? Can they be trusted? That's from Sami Gawad. Sami, I'll tell you this, okay? Let's be fair with Iran, okay? Because everybody spin. The media, it's all spin. Everybody in the media wants to tell you what to think. It's kind of like so much propaganda. It's nauseating. It's like, do you really think we're this stupid? Like the way they propagate information in the media on both sides. They're always spin. Convince these people that the other guy's the bad guy. It's just so pathetic. Like, are people that naive? Maybe. But look, I'll tell you something. Look at the hard facts. And I want you guys to push back on this. Because I find the hard facts so difficult to deal with. Obama made a deal with Iran. Iran won't enrich uranium more than a certain point. The NPT went and investigated Iran, and they said they're obliging by all the rules. Then Trump comes in and tears up their agreement, says it's the worst agreement. Now, Do you think if a USA comes in and tears up your agreement, says we don't care about this agreement, you think Iran's not going to enrich uranium now? Of course they want a nuke because their neighbors have a nuke. The NPT, the non-proliferation, I hate that word. I can't say that word. The NPT, it's basically an agreement around the world. We're not going to build nukes. These countries are agreeing not to build nukes. Iran signed it and allowed investigators, inspectors to come in, and they said they are obliging by every rule. Now, one country that didn't sign is Israel. And Israel doesn't admit to having nukes, but they don't deny it. It's an open secret. Everybody knows they have nukes. Everybody knows. Everybody and their grandmother knows that Israel has nukes. It's undeniable, okay? If you think Israel doesn't have nukes, you're incredibly naive. You're incredibly naive. I have a bridge to sell you. Everybody that knows they have nukes. So Israel wants to have nukes, but they don't want their neighbors having nukes. Well, imagine Iran had that attitude. They're like, hey, we're not going to sign, but you have to sign. Guys, you got to be good with your neighbors. The safest things for Jewish people is not Netanyahu. Netanyahu is the worst thing that ever happened to Jewish people. He's putting Jewish people at risk for his own personal legacy. The guy is the most dangerous human being alive today. He's trying to start World War III. Why? Because there's many reasons why, okay? The second the war ends, this guy goes to jail. The second, look at this up, okay? The second the war ends in Gaza, the conflict ends in the Middle East, this guy goes to jail for corruption charges. He has to keep this battle going. He's the whole purpose why they went to Iraq. He said, oh, Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. The UN went in and investigated Iraq. Iraq obliged with every inspection, and they passed every inspection. Still, they invaded Iraq. They killed over 1 million people. It cost trillions of dollars. Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of Americans died. Tens of thousands committed suicide, PTSD. It cost the taxpayer trillions of dollars. A few citizens in America got crazy rich. Of course, the elite, the politicians got crazy rich. The politicians didn't send their sons to war. No. Their sons were at the beach. Netanyahu's son is safely in Miami right now. Safely in Miami, tanning it up. Even though he's combat age. He's supposed to be fighting in Gaza. He's supposed to be fighting in Syria. He's supposed to be fighting in Lebanon. He's supposed to be going now to Iran. No, not Netanyahu's son. Netanyahu's son is going to live the life of luxury while your children go to war. And if they don't want to go to war, well, we're going to have to jail them. In Israel, you're going to go to jail. You're going to do jail time. It's crazy, insane. Iran obliged with inspection. They oblige. They have a no first strike policy. They have a no first strike policy. We will never strike you first. Israel attacked them, then they attack back. It's crazy to me how they have a no first strike policy. They obliged by international law. They signed the NPT, the non-proliferation treaty. I hate that word, guys. I can't say it. For some reason, I can't say it. Somebody pushed back on this. How are they a threat if they're obliging with every inspection? And I'll tell you this, guys. It's a matter of time before everybody in the world has nukes. If we keep doing this. If we go now and destroy Iran and... You know, it's crazy because I just saw a clip of Tucker Carlson asking Ted Cruz how many people are in Iran, and he didn't know. The answer is 90 million. Blows my mind. The guy's a senator. He's talking about going to war with Iran, and he doesn't know that they're 90 million strong. Is this guy a disabled human being? Is this man have some kind of cognitive disability? He's egging on war with a country with 90 million people? It's very difficult to do war with 90 million people. He's an ignoramus. I was listening to it and I knew, just like regular, I'm an MMA coach and I knew there is 90 million people in Iran. I know that. Iran is a 5,000-year-old civilization. If you bomb them, they're going to disperse. You're going to have millions of people leaving the country. Where are they going to end up? They're going to end up in Europe. They're going to end up in the Americas. One way or another, they're coming to Europe. And then you're going to cry about, oh, well, look, these migrants are coming in our country. They're taking our jobs. They're creating inflation. They're creating housing crisis. Yeah, well, you bombed their country. You took their resources. There was only one reason why they're going to go bomb Iran. They're going to bomb Iran, not because they have weapons of mass destruction, because they want to take their oil. They want to take their resources. The elite in the West are going to get crazy rich. The poor are going to get murdered and displaced. We saw it in Iraq. It's a huge mistake. This could kick off World War III. Because I'll tell you why. China and Russia, they see it as the West encroaching on our territory, on our side of the world. They're trying to influence our side of the world. And China, of course, has nukes. Russia has the most nukes in the world. We're flirting with disaster. I think we're far from nuclear destruction, but we're closer than ever right now. We're closer than we've been in a long time. Maybe not ever, but we're closer than we have in a long time. And if they go and they do to Iran what they did to Iraq, I'm telling you guys, it's going to make the whole world want to gear up with nukes. We need to go the other direction. We need to tell people, look, you signed the treaties, you signed the NPT, you're not enriching uranium, you're allowing us inspection, you have a no first strike policy. We will not invade you. We will not invade you. Over time, Iran will become more and more progressive. They'll have more and more laws for protecting people's freedoms. They will go through those stages naturally. If you bomb them and replace the regime, you can have another ISIS. That's what happened in Iraq. Netanyahu, one of the most ignorant men in the world, one of the most dangerous men in the world, he's like, oh, there's a famous clip going viral online. If you take out Saddam Hussein, it's going to have incredible reverberations all across the Middle East. Democracy will sweep the region. The opposite happened. Why? You take out Saddam Hussein, you create a vacuum. There's infighting. Rebel groups fight each other. They don't want no puppet government. They fight till the most robust, the most extreme, the toughest, the wildest, the craziest, the most risk-taking group establishes dominance. We don't want another vacuum. We don't want another roll of the dice. Who knows how that could destabilize the Middle East? What they need to do now is re-sign a deal where Iran doesn't have nukes, disarm Israel from nukes, give people equal rights in Palestine, give them the right of return, coexist. Netanyahu has an extreme ISIS-like government. They're worse than ISIS. They're worse. They're setting their state on a racist regime. They color it nicely and call it a democracy. It's not a democracy. It's a government that chooses its people. It's not the people that chooses the government. The power is supposed to be with the people. The people of Palestine are governed by Israel. Israel controls their entire life, from how much water they get to how much food they receive to how much business they do. They have no GDP. They have no right to do business. If they wanted to work before October 7th, they can go do slave labor for the Israelis. So basically, they were living in a prison and doing slave labor. They could only have a limited amount of education, limited amount of medicine, limited amount of food, limited amount of water, limited amount of movement, all in the name of security, but really it's racial dominance. It's racial dominance. Our religion/race, because they're more of a nation than a religion, some would say. I don't agree with that, but that's their perspective. Oh, we're a peoples, and our peoples are going to dominate this region. Well, okay, you're going by nation state. You're going by race. You're a race-based democracy. It's in their charter. In their charter, only the Jews, the Jewish people, have the right to self-determination. It's in their charter. I'm not making this up. And they want to build settlements. Settlement means we're going to remove you, indigenous people, the brown people, off the land, and we're going to put our nation, call them whatever color you want to call them. But they seem pretty light-skinned to me when you look at them. And anybody want to dispute that? Let's do a simple DNA test. We can do a DNA test, guys. If you guys want to dispute who's from that region, I'm ready. I'm ready to give you DNA. I'm more from Israel than Netanyahu. I'll bet any amount, guys. Anybody want to take my DNA and put it up against Netanyahu's DNA, I will guarantee you that I'm more from Israel than Netanyahu. There's a reason why home testing, DNA testing is illegal. You're not allowed to do home testing in Israel. You need a medical reason to do DNA testing. There's a reason why. Now, look, I'm not saying Jewish people don't belong in Jerusalem. If those of you who are familiar with me, I believe they belong there. They have a cultural tie to the land. Of course, so do Palestinians. They're indigenous to the region. I believe in coexistence. We've had coexistence in the past. I'm quite happy to boast that the Muslims allowed and returned Jewish people to the promised land, okay, Israel. We, the Muslims, brought the Jewish people back to Israel after they were kicked out from the Holy Land for 500 years by the Romans. I like to say it. Why? Because I believe in coexistence. And now that for the first time the Jewish people have control, I think in the future they're going to be embarrassed that they kicked out and pushed out the brown Muslim indigenous people. Because when the Muslims did it, I'm embarrassed. Like when I go through history and they show the part where the Muslims were really bad and they killed and they murdered and they pushed out, I'm embarrassed and I got to apologize for it. And I got to say, look, that was a bad representative of Islam. It's embarrassing. I wish it didn't happen. I don't agree with them. Those were extremists. We got to kind of like, we're embarrassed. Whenever we have the Muslims who are like, hey, we let you practice your religion. We didn't murder you. We let you have the right to your property, your land. We don't touch your family. We allow you to have everything, all your rights. Oh, look, we're like, oh, look at what a great example Islam is. Look what a great example Islam can be. There isn't a strong majority that interpret Islam that we give people autonomy. We let them have self-determination. Israel is becoming less and less popular in the West. Why? Because the new generation of kids are polling. They're telling you, we don't want a racist state. We don't want to kill the brown people. We don't want to murder them. We don't want to bomb them. We don't want... In a short period of time, the next 10, 20 years, which is a very short period of time, they're going to lose American support. Then what? What did Netanyahu do? He made Israel a very dangerous place. If Israel was designed to protect Jewish people, we have to go about it in a much smarter way. We have to promote coexistence. The more peace there is, the more Palestinians get freedom. They're incentivized to be peaceful. And over time, they won't want to support groups that are extreme. And don't forget, the number one supporter of Hamas is Netanyahu. Netanyahu boasts about it, guys. Look it up. It's not a conspiracy theory. It boasted before October 7th. He was boasting about how he put Hamas in power, how he funded them. Why? Because they pushed the Palestinian Authority down. They pushed them out of the picture. Why? Because the Palestinian Authority was much more moderate. They wanted to have coexistence, and Netanyahu doesn't want coexistence. Hamas was the worst thing to happen to Palestinian people. The best thing to happen to Palestinian people and Jewish people is coexistence. Have rights for everybody, civil rights for everybody. It's not a crazy idea. We do that here in all the other parts of the world, not just here, not just Canada, all the other parts of the world. We have civil rights for most parts of the world, I should say. There's still parts of the world that don't have it. In the vast majority of the world, we have civil rights for everybody. And it's crazy that in 2025, we still don't have that in the Holy Land. Where the Holy Land is supposed to be the example. It's supposed to be, look, religion is about morality, guys. We got to be moral people. We got to be moral agents. And they're falling short. It's a miserable example of morality. It's embarrassing. U.S. will use Pakistani bases and get into Iran. Trump had lunch with Pat Army? With the Army General today. The Pakistani Army General. Okay. Pakistan Army is for rent and the U.S. will print and pay. That's from Zain. Zain, look, yeah, for sure. Look, they got military bases all over, but here's the thing. You got to remember, okay? Iran doesn't have to win the war. They're not going to win the war militarily. What they got to do is they got to make it, I hate to say this, okay? They got to make it bloody enough. They're going to bomb certain military bases. They're going to block certain ships from getting to Israel in the Europe. It's going to spike the price of oil. It's going to really upset the American supporter. The American supporter is not going to be happy that inflation is going up, prices are going up, soldiers are dying, American soldiers are dying. Even though you send Pakistanis to fight, it's not going to be enough. You're going to have to put Americans in danger. It's going to drag on for 20 years, 30 years, and people are going to be like, why are we going there? Who brought us there? It's the same thing as Iraq. It's hard to murder and kill and destroy a country with 90 million people who's been around for 5,000 years, and they have a mountainous region. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be popular. It's going to cost trillions of dollars. It's going to cost a lot of blood. Think about Afghanistan. They beat up Afghanistan for so much, 20 years. Just never lost a single battle. They never lost a battle in Vietnam. It just drained their pockets. It caused PTSD. It became super unpopular eventually. First, it was super popular. Don't go against us. If you go against us, you're with the terrorists. You're with the terrorists. You're with the terrorists. You're either with us or you're against us. George W. Bush wouldn't shut up about it. And now we're like, oh, he's a war criminal. He killed 1 million people. What was the whole point? There was no ties to 9/11. There was nothing. Nothing. There was no WMDs. No weapons of mass destruction. What was the point? Now, everybody who went against the Iraq war looks like a genius, and everybody who was for it looks like a dummy. That's the truth of the matter. So ultimately speaking, what purpose will it serve? It's going to displace millions of people. It's going to cost a lot of money. A few private citizens are going to get crazy rich. Believe me, they're going to get rich. Politicians' children will never die. Your children are going to die. Iran is going to be difficult. It's not going to be a cakewalk. A lot of people are going to die. Innocent people are going to die on both sides. Mostly Iranians for sure. But they're going to fight to the end. Why? They're a civilization that has been conquered many times. This is not their first rodeo. Iran, Persia has been around for 5,000 years. The Greeks conquered them. The Muslims conquered them. The Europeans went there. Everybody's been to Persia. This is not their first battle. This is not their first battle. You're going to go. You're going to hurt them. You're going to injure them. They're not going to forget it. They're not going to forget it. Generations from now, they're going to want payback. It's just a bad idea. Not only that, they're obliging with not enriching uranium. Obama had everything under control. Netanyahu will attack U.S. soldiers and or military and make it look like Iran did it. This will enrage Americans. U.S. gets dragged into this war. This is called false flag terrorist attack. That's what I'm saying. Guys, we all know what a false flag is, right? You blow up your own building and then you make it look like the enemy did it, or you blow up a friend's building in this case, and then you blame it on the enemy, so everybody's on board to go bomb the enemy. Okay, so a lot of people claim certain events in history were that. I'm not going to do that here. I don't know. I don't have enough information, but this is typical. People say, look, that's how you get people's support. Man, it's possible. I can't say it's impossible. Okay, you guys know me. I'm not big on conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theories, I used to deny all of them. Now I've been proven wrong a few times, so now I'm much more open-minded to conspiracy theories than I used to be. I'm much more open-minded, especially after the whole C-19 fiasco, which I won't mention now. But I will tell you that there is nothing but there's no benefit to going in Iran. I don't see any benefit, except certain people are going to get rich. Just assets. And now China is now saying, hey, we condemn it. We don't want anybody going to Iran. China is getting involved. Another superpower. And they have direct ties to Iran, where, a lot of their energy comes from Iran. So they don't want anybody messing with Iran. China is saying, look, don't touch Iran. Like, do we want to poke the Chinese hornet's nest? Like, that's not going to be a popular. That's not going to be a popular group to tangle with. That's not going to be a popular group. Like, if China were to get involved, I understand America is very powerful, but this is a war you don't want, man. This is a war you don't want. I'll tell you why, okay? America, they're super strong. They're super technological. They have a lot of great everything militarily. They spend more on military than anybody else. But here's the thing. Life is good in America. When life is good, you don't really, not so motivated to get up and go fight across seas and send people to go die there. It's like, we have Coca-Cola, we have hamburgers, we have a good life here, we have lots of nice movies to watch. Why are we going all the way on the other side of the world? Why are we still sending so much money there? At the end of the day, it's going to cost a lot of money and taxpayers are going to get sick of it. It's Iraq all over again, man. Like, I don't understand how they could sign the NPT. They can oblige with every inspection and still it doesn't keep an invasion away. Like, what do they have to do? Like, if I was Iran, I would want my nukes. I would be like, oh, no, we got to get nukes. And here's the thing. Here's one thing that people got to remember. Eventually, it gets easier and easier to get nukes. Eventually, they're going to be able to do it in a way nobody can decipher if they're doing it or not. Now, they're still in the realm where they could figure out if you're doing it or not. In the future, it's going to be easier to get nuclear power. It's going to be easier to get advanced missiles. This is unsustainable. This path is unsustainable. It's poorly thought. It serves only a few politicians. It's disgusting. Undefeated, undisputed, Faraz versus Netanyahu. That's from X7. X7, he wouldn't last 5 seconds with me. He wouldn't last 5 seconds. Not intellectually, not physically, not in any way. The man is he's just scum. He's just total scum. He's bad for Palestinians. He's bad for Jewish people. He's bad for Israelis. He's bad for Iranians. He's bad for Americans. The guy is a cancer of the earth. The guy is the cancer of the earth. Netanyahu is the worst thing for Jewish people, for Palestinians, for Americans, for Iranians, for Chinese, for every single walk of life. This guy has been instigating war for over 30 years. In 1994, he said, oh, they might be a few weeks away from nuclear. Talking about Iran. They might be a few weeks away. That was in 94, and then he reiterated 96, then 98. Then he just won't shut up. He just won't shut up that we have to go in the Middle East and kill people, bomb people, destroy people. And he won't feel safe till every one of his neighbors is dead. That's Netanyahu. He's got to have nukes. He won't sign NPT. And every neighbor is a threat. So he's got to bomb everybody. He's got to bomb everybody, bomb them all. And when they're all dead, then he'll feel safe. But of course, he's going to find another enemy. He's going to say the U.S. is a threat. And then he's going to say, oh, other certain Jews are a threat, and Israel is a threat. We got to get rid. He's just going to keep weeding out people till it's just him, his wife, and his son. You know, he's psychotic. He's insane. His cabinet is full of psychotic. You know, not Ben Gvir, the other psychopath in his cabinet. I'm forgetting his name now. He said, oh, I'm a proud, what did he say? What was that crazy thing he says? I'm a proud is homophobe and something else. Extremist, something like that. Guy's proud of it. He's proud of it. He wants to erase every Arab in his vicinity. I'm forgetting his name now. I don't know. Smoltrich, another demon, another like certifiably psychotic human being. Certifiably. He's like, yeah, I'm a racist I'm a racist homophobe. I don't know what. Something along those lines. Like something like a politician saying that. You know, it's just gross, man. It's just gross. I think people are waking up. Oh, most definitely. If you look at the polls, guys, I'm telling you, if you look at the polls, people are definitely less favorable to this propaganda. Will competition experience boost performance in training sessions? That's from Leo. Leo, yes, definitely. The right amount. I don't think you should compete too much. I know some guys that compete every other weekend. I don't think it makes you better because you never get to develop your game, think about your competition, what happened, how could I perfect it. So I like guys who compete on a regular basis, but not overly so. So I would tell you like 1 or twice a month is plenty because you got to go back to the drawing board and you have to have time to evolve between competitions. Coach, what's your opinion on coaches who never competed? That's from Brad Crawford. Look, here's the thing, okay? Generally, I like the coach to at least get on the mats. He's been on the mats. He's sparred. He's wrestled. Like, I competed only as amateur. I was very successful as an amateur. That's why I became elected as the trainer. I never went pro because there was no money in it, but I was definitely the number one prospect in Canada at one point. Like, I was, like, winning everything in amateur. I was doing very, very well in amateur. But I never thought to fight because there was literally, at my time, no money, and there was no 145 weight class in UFC at that time. Okay, so there was literally no money. All the top fighters, they wanted me to train them because I was really successful in competition and on the mats, okay, in the practice room. Now, with that said, I would like at least to see competence from my trainers as spending them. Because look, John Denar never competed, but he's arguably the greatest jiu-jitsu coach ever. But he spent a lot of times rolling on the mats. Like, we roll with him. We saw him in action. The guy knows what he's talking about. He earned our respect. Okay, so I would tell you that you have to have at least live training. Now, with that said, some of the best boxing coaches in history never gloved up. They never sparred. They never fought. How did they get so successful? They learned the formula. They grew up in the gym. They learned the formula. They understood the formula and they repeated it over the years and generationally over and over again, they were super successful. They never gloved up. They never laced up the gloves. They never punched. They never boxed. They never got in the ring and sparred. But yet they were successful coaches. Now, there weren't many like that, but there are. It does exist. How did they learn it? They spent every day in the gym. They heard what other coaches say. They repeat it. They saw the demonstrations. They can show the demonstration. They understood the game at a certain level in a certain way. So it is possible. All right, guys, let's end it on a fun one. I'm going to be closing up shop shortly. It's 5 o'clock. My daughter is home soon. Have you watched Tucker Carlson going at it with Ted Cruz? That's from Delton. Yes, I was shocked that Ted Cruz doesn't know that he didn't know the population of Iran, a country he's promoting an invasion of. It's a very different thing to invade a country with 10, 20 million people, 30 million people, and a country with 90 million people. That's a lot of people to disperse. That's a lot of people who are gonna need aid if you bomb them. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of potential for rebel groups. It's a crazy idea. Okay, it's crazy that he doesn't know what a massive population they are. All right, guys, let's end on something fun and light. All right, guys, let's do something fun and light. Coach, what's your favorite fighter, your favorite character in Street Fighter? Okay, that's from NYX. Guys, I'm ending on this one. Please, no more super chats, no more. Guys, I was obsessed with Street Fighter as a kid. I was obsessed. The easiest character to learn with was Kung Lee. She's the one who does the flashy kicks. Then she does spinning bird feet. She gets upside down, kind of does like a spinning kick. She was like super mobile. She could jump really high. She had a really good jump kick. So she was my first character, like I was learning the ropes, and then I fell in love using Ryu. Ryu, you could throw the fireball, and you could do the dragon punch, the flying uppercut. I was obsessed with those two moves. I would play a video game all the time, but it was really hard to do. It was hard to do the fireball, and it was super hard to do the flying uppercut, the dragon punch. He also had a spinning tornado kick, which was cool, but mostly it was all about the fireball and the uppercut. You throw the fireball, and when your opponent would jump over the fireball, you'd uppercut them, and it was like this killer combo. If you were really good at uppercutting and throwing the fireball, you were very difficult to beat. I was obsessed with Ryu. I love that character. And then they had the special edition where you had Ken. And Ken, hey baby girl, how are you? Good, guys. My daughter just walked in. It's time for me to end this podcast shortly. I'll be with you. I'm almost done. Okay, so back to what I was saying. They came out with special edition, and special edition, Ken, the American version of Ryu. So you have Ryu, the Japanese. He does karate. He has the same moves as Ken, but Ken's have different variation. So Ken had a he had a greater range when he did his uppercut. Okay, so it was more like a J motion. It would go get you from further. He can reach you from further, but if he missed, he was exposed for longer. Now, Ryu, the Japanese, he didn't reach as far, but if he missed, he wasn't exposed for as long. So defensively, he was stronger, but offensively, he was weaker. My style of fighting today is more on the defensive side. Like, I'm aggressive, yes, but I'm not so aggressive that I give you my back. I'm not so aggressive that I'll let you hit me on the chin. I have this balanced approach that's very Ryu style, and that goes with my personality. Like, I'm not a like, when I spar, I'm not like a wildcat kind of guy who's going to run at you and start throwing punches and back fist and jump and shoot a double leg. Like, I think twice when I double leg. I think like, oh, I got to double leg the guy when he's not in position to guillotine me. Oh, I'm going to throw my uppercut when he can't throw his hook against me. Like, I'm more calculated, so I really gravitated towards the Ryu character. Now, I would always have more success with Ryu than I did with Ken. Ken's moves, some people thought they were better. They were more aggressive. They would drain the energy bar more. However, for some reason, till this day, whenever I play the game, I always do better with Ryu, even though a lot of the top players use Ken. But me, whenever I play, I always use Ryu. and the balanced approach always worked for me best. I don't know why. I wonder actually if the top 10 players are still using what characters they use, because a lot of them would use Ken. Okay, top 10 Street Fighter winners character use. Let's see what they use. Streetfighter.com. In Street Fighter 6, Ken, see, it's still Ken, Luke, and JP, see, I don't know those characters even, are frequently used. This is Street Fighter 6, guys, because I haven't played in a while. They're at Street Fighter 6, which is curious. I want to go check it out. I wonder what kind of, okay, so they still have Ryu. They still have, let's see here. Fighter Duel. Who do they have? They have Zangief, Bison. They have Vega. They have Sagat. They have Honda. They have Ryu. They have Kung Lee. They have Guile. They still have a lot of classic characters. They have the guy who looks like Bruce Lee. I'm forgetting his name now. They have Akuma. Okay, they have a lot of the same characters and a lot of new ones. Okay, so let's see. Top players use Ken, Luke, and JP. Are frequently used top players and have seen the most wins in tournaments. Other characters like Kami, Akuma. Akuma is also very similar to Ryu. And Chun-Li also appear frequently and are chosen by strong players. According to, okay, so they don't use Ryu. That's strange. You know, they don't use Ryu. Why? Ryu is always more conservative, I guess. And it's maybe an American video game, so they gave the American version of Ryu more stats. Let's see. Top 10 Street Fighter winners, character use. Why not Ryu? Why not Ryu? Let's see here. While Ryu is a popular and powerful character in Street Fighter 6 and recent updates have made him even stronger, he's not always the top pick for tournament winners. Other characters like Ken, Akuma, and Chun-Li are often favored for their specific strength and play style. Ryu's strength is well-roundedness, but other characters offer more specialized advantages in certain situations, making them more appealing to top players aiming for tournament victories. Okay, guys, there you go. I mean, the trend stays true. In my day, the top players were using Ken. For some reason, I always had more success using Ryu. Until this day, in my sparring style, training style, I'm very balanced approach. It works for me. Maybe it goes with my personality. Okay, guys, with that said, thank you very much for tuning in. Guys, don't forget, use GET55 off promo code and get 55% off anything at jujiclub.com. Check the description for the promo code. It's on the bottom of your screen. Make sure to pick up Professional Shadowboxing Volume 1. It is incredible for teaching you more advanced techniques on striking. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you.